Okay, so now it's time to talk about getting a girlfriend. So a lot of times, like after guys, go out and have success, they get the rotation or the group of girls going that they're seeing, and they start to get that realized abundance or go a little closer to that actual abundance, that ultimate abundance. One of the next stages is actually getting a girlfriend. Now this sounds really funny, and I don't suggest that everyone goes out and do this. Like if you look at this program, the Fuckboy frame, and you start having women chase you, you start unlocking girls' emotions. I don't suggest that you run out and get a girlfriend. I don't think that's like the next step. But a lot of guys do want to do that when they find a girl that's quality. They find they go out and they meet a couple girls, a lot of girls. They get that beginner abundance, again, that realized abundance, and they get a girlfriend. Some of my students this has happened with. Like they'll get good with women, and then the next year or so they'll get into a relationship just because they've experienced and they realize, hey, I can get laid a lot, and they'll meet that one girl that makes them go, aha, this is special. So there are benefits of getting a girlfriend. Again, before I go into this video in detail, I want to specify that I'm not suggesting you go out and get a girlfriend. I don't think that's the best route, just to get good and then go get a girlfriend. I also, however, don't think that it's something that you should run away from, which is why I'm going to talk about it here, because I think that it is good. It can be a good experience, and it can be something you build in the future to have a girlfriend. But I think what's important is knowing that it's the right time and knowing that you're actually ready for it. Because some students I suggest, like, dude, for this amount of time, the next couple of years or a couple months, whatever it is, don't get a fucking girlfriend. And I'm going to break down kind of how you should know that too. Let's look at some of the benefits, though, of having a girlfriend. So number one, the biggest benefit, I think, is having a feminine partner to complement your masculine energy. Right? It's like the feminine and masculine. As you go through life, you go on this little journey, right? You go on this journey, and hey, you want to spend time and bond with someone. Like that's natural. That's naturally for humans, whether it's monogamous or whether it's polygamous or whatever it is. Like however you do that biologically. Again, I'm not an evolution expert, so I'm not going to talk about polygamy versus monogamy and sexuality like that. But it is natural for us to want to bond in pairs and to bond with people, whether it's multiple partners or solo partners. But wanting a girlfriend, like a lot of guys fight this. They're kind of like, in the community, fight having a girlfriend because that means you're in scarcity. No, it doesn't actually. That's not true. And it can be part of it. It can be scarcity. And I'm going to get into how you know that it's the right time and that you're prepared for it. But having a girlfriend is something that can be a valuable experience. It can be an amazing experience because, again, you as a man with your masculine energy, it's like you are the rock. You're the person that absorbs tension. You handle the tension, because we've been talking about tension through the whole program. You, at the same time, want a woman who deflects that tension, a woman who bounces off the tension. And it's a beautiful combination, right? Again, a lot of guys never get to experience this, and especially in the pickup community, because they're so afraid. They're so fucking afraid that they'll get back into scarcity. This was me. Like, I was afraid that if I got a girlfriend, I would get back into my old ways of scarcity and not being able to, have the girl that I wanted, or like be able to get laid or be able to meet girls. I was so scared I'd get back into scarcity. But after a while, I kind of slipped out of that paradigm, out of that frame, especially when I got closer to the being frame instead of the doing frame. And then I eventually got a girlfriend. I had a girlfriend for about a full year. I have had a couple of different girlfriends. One relationship was really bad. Another one was when I was a kid, which didn't count really. Not when I was little, but when I first got into pickup. And then I had a more recent one that was an amazing relationship with a girl I'm still friends with to this day, right? But having a relationship is great because you have this feminine partner, this woman who has feminine energy that you can bounce out off of, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's great, and that's something that you should desire. Another benefit is mutual growth. So it's important that when you have a girlfriend, you guys grow together. Right? It's important that when you have a girlfriend, you guys actually grow and take a path of progression together as a man and as a woman, again, feminine and masculine energy, that you guys take this path together and have new experiences together. I call it mutual growth. So it's when you guys are both experiencing amazing things together and you guys are both growing as people and you guys are both on this path of success together. That's why it's so important who you choose as a girlfriend. Now, some people will drag you down. Some people will not help you get better. Some people will not help you progress in your life. Other people will. So you as a man going out and meeting girls, it's important that you set your standards only to someone that will help you progress. And there's ways you can know this, of course, and we'll get into it. Another thing is mutual support. When you go through shit, some guys will say, some teachers of success with women will say, a woman can never be your emotional support, which I understand and I don't disagree with, as far as the fact that you shouldn't be relying on a woman as an emotional anchor. However, a woman can support you and back you emotionally. I think there's nothing wrong with her supporting you and backing you emotionally. You shouldn't rely on her for those good emotions. Again, you in the relationship should be the one who's controlling the emotional narrative, not the girl. But at the same time, a woman can be a nice support and a nice bolster for you emotionally. A woman can be someone that you can bond with and spend time with emotionally, and that you can invest in emotionally. And I think this is something that a lot of guys need to learn how to do. And these are benefits of being in a relationship. Again, these are like things that, it's like when I get a girlfriend, these are things that I look for. These are good things of having a girlfriend. There's a lot of bad things, of course, scarcity, being in scarcity, giving up your time and all this shit. But again, I'm going to talk about how you actually handle these things so you don't have to deal with many of the drawbacks. And with everything, so when I go over these principles here, don't think that this is going to be the solution. You'll never deal with problems. Again, there's problems with everything, but I'm going to teach you kind of how to have the most ideal relationship, because I've been there and I've seen bad relationships and I've seen good relationships, and the signs repeat themselves over and over. So before we get into the relationship itself, let's talk about how to know that it's her. How to know that you are ready, and how to know that it is this girl. Well, the first thing you need to do in order to know that it's the girl that you want to be in a relationship with is you have to have realized abundance. Okay, so you have to actually have a version of abundance. Every student that I've ever had who doesn't have abundance, I always tell them, you cannot be in a relationship. Every student that I have who doesn't have who only is up to conscious abundance, who's only at the stage where they can approach a girl and they realize they can approach again, I tell them you should not be in a relationship. Again, it's up to them. If they're a grown man, they do their own thing. But if I was me suggesting and me giving them my progression plan personally for them, they shouldn't get into a relationship. The reason why is because the frame of the relationship would go wrong. The frame would be wrong. The frame of the relationship, when your relationship, has to be where you come from a frame of abundance. You have to be abundant. The girl has to actually know that you're the kind of guy that she can trust. She has to know that you're the kind of guy that she can, emotionally rest in. And if you don't have this abundance, if you believe that you can't walk away, if you don't have this realized abundance, you're going to be falling short. And you're not going to be able to be the person that provides that, again, that emotional roller coaster or that emotional connection for the girl. You're not going to be able to provide that because you don't have abundance, because you are relying on her for the good emotions, because you feel that you can't get that same result. You can't get a woman just as quality anywhere else. So you have to have realized abundance at the minimum. Ideally, you want to have actual abundance, like you want to have had experiences, but you need to have realized abundance. What does this mean? Again, you should be able to sleep with multiple girls. You should be able to go out on a night during the day, like we talked about in the Taking Action module. You need to be able to go out and actually approach and meet girls and add them to your life. You need to be able to have leads in your phone. Remember, we talked about getting leads, the importance of getting leads and texting new girls consistently. You need to be able to have leads. You need to be able to hit leads up and take girls out for dates. You have to have that physical ability. If you don't have the skill set of being able to do that, there's going to be no point in getting a girlfriend, because the value will be off. Again, the girl can get laid at any time, but the second you're a guy who can't get laid, now the girl has that power sexually. Right? So there has to be that balance. There has to be that masculine and feminine dynamic, and it should be caused by you having your own abundance. You having your own sense of realized abundance where you've tasted consistently, to some extent, actual success. Again, I tend to go much further with this, and part of it is the experience that I've had. Again, being able to sleep with like 10 plus girls a month gives me that actual abundance, because I know that there's tons of girls I can meet at any given time. But at the same time, some guys who don't have this, you need to have realized abundance, where you realize, hey, I can actually go out and I can meet another girl, and I have done so. This is not just something you have in theory. Don't get laid twice and think that, oh yeah, I have abundance now. No. You have to go out and actually apply it, and you have to develop realized abundance. You have to realize the success that is actually possible. You have to taste it. Okay? The other sign that a girl could be your girlfriend is that she fulfills something that others don't. And again, this goes back to the realized abundance. If you have not developed this frame of realized abundance within yourself, if you don't actually understand that you can get success consistently, it's going to be very fucking hard for you to choose the proper girl. You're not ever going to be able to realize that the girl fulfills something that other people don't. You're not going to know that, because if you don't have realized abundance, to you, every new girl is special. Like if you're getting laid once a month, like out of luck, and you're not texting new girls, you don't have any new leads, the one girl that you do fuck, you're going to think is very special compared to other girls, because you have a small sample size. It's scientific, right? But if you have a bigger sample size, you're going to place less value on each individual girl. Not because you're dehumanizing her, like, oh my God, like she's nothing, again, like some fucking male chauvinist. But no, you actually are just like, okay, she's a person, and I've had sex with a lot of different people. I mean, now I realize kind of who she really is, and I'm not placing a high amount of value on her just because she's a woman that I've had sex with, which is what so many guys do. So many guys fall in the trap of, because I've had sex with this girl, and this is the one girl that I've gotten laid with in a long time, she must be that important because I got laid with her. So she fits my blueprint. She fits me. That's scarcity, though. Again, also a lot of guys aren't open and honest. So when they do get the one girl, they'll still invest all their emotions in her. So first you have to set up the short-term dating frame. But then if the girl fulfills something that the other girls don't, that the other high-quality, cute girls you've met don't fulfill, then that's a sign that she could be a girl that you would want to spend time with. Like, again, you have to know, though, if you're coming from a frame of abundance. If you're not coming from a frame of abundance, think, when you chose this girl, did you have the option to go out and get laid at any time? When you chose this girl, were you getting laid regularly? Were you able to sleep with 3 girls a month? Did you have, if like a random stranger looked at your phone or your Snapchat or Instagram, would they see new girls that you're messaging? That's how you know you're in the abundant frame. Right? What kind of feedback are you able to get, or are you getting from your personal dating life? Right? Are you in the stream of abundance? And then compare how you feel with this girl to the other girls you're dating. So me right now, if a girl stands out to me, she's being compared to 4 or 5 other high quality women that I've been sleeping with for the last month. Right? And new girls that I meet all the time. But if I still keep putting my priority on her, if there's just one thing about her that just makes me tick, and honestly, in my dating life right now, I have 2 girls like that. There's 2 girls that today, like, if I wasn't doing all this Viking shit, if I wasn't filming infield, if I wasn't making content and running the business the way I am now, if I could, like, relax and take my step off of making my own game better, maybe I would be monogamous with these 2 girls. Again, it's kind of hard to choose which one because I like both of them so fucking much. But maybe I wouldn't be monogamous, but I would place the relationship at a higher priority, and I'd get into a relationship with her, and we'd probably pick up girls together, things like that, right? So understanding this relationship dynamic is really fucking important. Now, one thing else that you have to understand, again, if she fulfills something others don't, you don't always have to be fully monogamous with the girl that you're in a relationship with, as long as you make the boundaries clear. What I consider a relationship with the girl is having her understand that you're not going to emotionally leave her for someone else. Unless there's, of course, some boundary that she breaks, like some like huge thing she does that you've decided is just too much for you to not handle, and you don't want to handle that. Again, we'll talk about that later. But I'm not talking about monogamous relationships necessarily when I say getting a girlfriend. I'm talking about getting a girl that is your girl emotionally. You guys are attached, you guys respect each other, and you're starting to build those long-term dating priorities, right? It's like those are the big parts of getting into a relationship that is successful. When you know that you are going to invest in this girl long-term, right? And you're going to start building those long-term dating priorities. And this is kind of what's important for you to understand when you are in abundance. If you have realized abundance, you'll be able to understand this better. Okay, so this is the first thing you have to ask, the 2 things. Are you in abundance? Are you in realized abundance? And when you meet that girl, if you're in abundance, does she fulfill qualities that other girls don't? Do you keep coming back to her even though you could be getting laid with everyone else? Like, do you find yourself, you just fuck some chick in the bathroom and you're thinking about that other girl? If so, then maybe that's a reason for you to emotionally invest in her more, because she's giving you emotions and giving you feelings that you may not be able to just get with any other girl. What about making the commitment? When it comes to actually making the commitment, how do you do it? Well, before you actually commit to a girl and say, I want you to be my girlfriend, it's important that you set your boundaries early. Again, we talked about this earlier when it comes to the fuckboy frame mindsets, like developing yourself and, the whole social dynamics thing. It's important that part of the fuckboy frame mindset is you start off from a short-term dating frame before you go into a long-term dating one. You have to start off establishing a short-term dating frame. And in the short-term dating frame, you need to set your boundaries early. There's 3 big boundaries that I like to set in my own relationships. And you may find that these will apply to you or they may not. But take it or leave it. But these are the relationship boundaries that I set in my short-term dating relationships, and then they leak into my long-term dating ones. So the boundaries that I set are the time boundary, the action-taking boundary, and the abundance mindset. So the time boundary is essentially me establishing that my time is valuable and you need to respect my time if we're going to be spending time together, right? So for example, my girls know that when I'm working, they don't disturb me. They know that, like, if I'm on a mastermind call, for example, if I'm on a mastermind 6-month call, then they don't disturb me. They know that if I have programs to run and with my students, don't disturb me. Like if I decide to have you hang out with me in a club while I'm with my students, take a back seat. right? Not because, again, she's a woman and she has to be in the back, but no, it's the respecting a boundary. Women respect my time boundary. And I assert this boundary in the short-term dating relationship. I assert it by making certain things clear of what I will go with and certain things clear of what I will not do, right? If a girl's like, oh, skip that, just come spend time with me, I'm like, no, I have my students. I'm prioritizing my work. Or if a girl's like, hang out with me this extra day, again, remember the 2 days rule we talked about with the short-term dating, early on, I established that. Like, I don't say directly, I can only hang out with you 2 days a week. I'm not going to say that because that's just a little distasteful and that's weird. But what I will do is I will not make efforts to see that girl again, like consistently for like 5 days a week. I'm not going to do that. Instead of me maybe staying at her house and crashing with her and smoking weed all day, I'm not going to do that, which I've fucked up on before and I've done that actually. But instead what I'll do is I'll say, you know what, no, I am going to go back because I have work to do, right? I'll establish that time boundary. Like, my girls know, respect my time. Like, you can ask to hang out with me, sure, and you can ask me to make time, but don't push it so much where you are trying to cause me to sacrifice my time. I set that time boundary early on in my short-term dating relationships. Something else is the action-taking boundary. I don't let girls stop me from taking action in my life. Like, for example, if I'm like, I want to go out and I want to like hang out and meet people, I won't let a girl tell me, no, stay in and let's cuddle all day. Again, I've been in situations where, yes, sometimes that happens. You get into a situation where you're just cuddling with a girl and having sex all day, especially maybe when you first get into, building something with her. You guys are really feeling the emotions. But generally, I don't let girls stop me from taking action. The action-taking boundary is one of the most valuable ones you can have. I'm constantly asserting, hey, I'm an action taker. I'm the kind of guy that you should take, that I like to take action in my life, and I assert that boundary. And the girl can't stop that boundary. The girl can't stop me from having that boundary because I assert it so strongly. It's like I go for what I want, and the girl's built around that. You have to assert this in your short-term dating relationships. You can't wait till long-term to try to flip the script after you've invested all this time in the girl, going here and there at her every whim. Another way that I like assert this time boundary is when the girl is late for things. Like, if the girl continuously shows up late, I will stop hanging out with her. Like, I want girls to show up on time. Same thing with people. Like, I expect people, like the guys on my team or like students of mine, like I tell them to show up on time. And when I don't show up on time, I apologize profusely and I try to eliminate that. Like, if that happens with me, I'm like, fuck, like I fucked up. I apologize because, you have to walk the walk, not just talk the talk. But my time boundary, like girls showing up, like I will not let a girl tell me she wants to hang out at a certain time and then not show up until like an hour later. If she does that, I might leave, or I might even get a new girl and pull in another girl. And I'll let her know. I won't say, I fucked the girl because you came late. No, it's not coming from a butthurt frame, but it's coming from you told me to meet you here and I cut out of work and cut out of editing early. I stopped editing and headed over here and you didn't even show up. Like, that's not cool. I don't respect that. And I'll make that clear and I'll set that boundary. So you have to have this set early. A lot of guys don't do this. They overlook boundaries and it's kind of like anything goes and they'll make massive sacrifices for a girl, right? Another thing is the action taking. Like I said, the action taking boundary, we just went over that. You have to be able to establish that you are an action taker in your life. You can't let the girl stop you from taking action. Like me, if I want to go travel somewhere, I'm not going to let a girl that I'm seeing stop me from doing it because she can't come, right? I'll say, get tickets and come visit me there. I make it clear to girls. Like, I had one girl, perfect example. I had this one girl, and this is one of the girls that I might end up being in a relationship with later in the year, potentially. She like doesn't want me to travel a lot because she wants me to kind of stay with her. And she's in a city that I visit frequently. So like that girl kind of wants me to just move to that city and stay with her. But I made it clear, no, I'm actually going to go to these different cities and do a tour because that's just better for my business. And that's something I want to do. You should come visit me though on this tour. We want to be in a relationship, but I'm sorry it can't happen because I have these priorities in my life. Right? I established the action-taking boundary. The boundary of me taking action is priority. And then lastly is the abundance mindset. You have to establish an abundance mindset with girls. You have to establish early on, again, in your short-term dating, before you even get to the part where you're in the relationship, you have to establish that you have this abundance where you can meet other girls. You have to establish to her that you can meet other girls. And again, this doesn't have to be something you do, obviously. A lot of guys fuck up because they go in again into the doing paradigm where they're like, let me show her that I can meet other girls. Let me flaunt. Haha, I can get laid at any time. No, but one way you can show this abundance mindset is by telling stories. Like, I'll tell girls stories of threesomes that I've had. And I make it very obvious to the girl early on. Again, this is important that you do it early. So what I'm saying here, guys, is not something that you do when it's time to get in the relationship. You have to do this way before. So when you get in a short-term dating situation, you have to do this. I'll tell girls again that like I can imagine them being with another girl. Or I'll tell them my game stories. I'll tell them the crazy sex stories I've had. Just in passing, just like, what's your crazy story? Here's mine. And what happens is I establish this boundary of this abundance mindset. Now, when it gets closer to setting up this, frame of her becoming a girlfriend, it's important that what you do is part of making the commitment is conveying that she is special. You have to show the girl she's special. So you can't be afraid. Again, one part of it is you have to set up boundaries, but setting boundaries doesn't mean your emotions are locked up. Setting boundaries just means you have standards for what your life is going to be like. Setting boundaries is essentially, I have these standards about my life, and this is the standard that I have for my life, and you can come within that standard. That's what a boundary is, right? But you also want to convey to the girl she's special. The girl won't get into a relationship with a guy that she doesn't think values her for being special. Now, some girls may, but it won't be a healthy relationship if you don't convey to her that she's special. And special means just she possesses qualities that other girls may not possess. She possesses qualities that other girls that you're seeing, again, from that abundance frame, that abundance mindset, she possesses qualities that other girls may not have. All right, you convey that she's special. Like one of the girls that I'm dating that I really, really like a lot, that I want to get into a relationship with in the future. Okay, I told you there's these two main girls. The other one, she's like, just when we're together, like the amount of humor and social freedom that we have just to act ourselves is just insane. Like we kind of do a little bit of funny game together. Like we'll approach people and like troll people for fun. It's really immature and super petty, but it's something that I really love doing. It's very funny to me. And she knows that that's something that I have with her that I won't have with other girls. I tell her, I've never met a girl that I can do this with. Like, I really like that about you. I appreciate it about you. And that's an anchor that we can build together. That's like this, you're special. I value you for this. And she values me for certain things as well. Like the amount of openness that we have together to just be funny and be free and be ourselves. Not just sexually, but it's like socially. Like she's an extroverted type person, and I'm an extrovert as well with introvert tendencies, but I don't meet a lot of girls that can express themselves in the way this girl does. And I tell her that. I'm like, you're special. I appreciate this about you, right? Conveying to the girl that she is fucking special. Other thing is like the frame that you want to have is we're together because I choose you. Right? The frame is like, we're together because I've chosen to hang out with you. And you don't have to convey this. This is really important. So listen up here. You don't have to convey this by saying it to the girl. You don't have to say, hey, I choose you, but you can convey it with your lifestyle. That's why setting boundaries is so important early on. Setting the time boundary, right? Setting the boundary of, again, we're together because I choose you is so important because you set that time boundary. She knows that your time is valuable. And if you're in a short-term dating relationship and you see that girl only 1 or 2 days out the week and you start to see her a little more and start to invest time and you start to actually hang out with her and not have sex with her, that's how you set that frame of we're together because I choose you. We're together because I choose you. And eventually, organically, as you guys see each other more, you're going to start to get into that relationship frame. You're going to start to get into that frame of we're together. Sometimes the girl will ask you, this is kind of how you bridge the gap. The girl's going to ask you, what are we? She'll say, what are we? My answer a lot of times is I really, really like you. I'd love to like call you my girl. You don't have to say monogamous. Sometimes a girl will ask, she'll be like, you're just going to be with me? Say, I don't know. I go out with a lot of girls. I party a lot. I meet other girls, but I promise you that you're the only girl that I emotionally want to invest in. So that's the line. Those are the lines I'm giving you right there. Those are the lines you can use. You tell her that you're the only girl that you want to emotionally invest in. If the girl understands and respects your boundary and respects that you're the kind of guy that goes out and meets other people, the girl will respect that boundary and will honor that boundary, and she will not push for more because she's like, this is the kind of guy and I will accept him for this. I'll accept him for what he is, for who he is. Right? That's powerful. And the frame, again, is like, because I choose you, we're together. Because I'm choosing to sacrifice my emotional capital with other girls, and I'm going to devote it all to you. Like, girls see my Snapchat. The girls that I want to date, the girl that I want to actually have a long-term dating relationship with, we talk on Snapchat, and she sees me with other girls, and she's like, I hope that girl's as good as me. And I'm like, no, she's not. Like, you're the only girl that I really want to spend time with. But I like going out and meeting people. This is my lifestyle, so I meet these other girls. But you're the only girl I want to spend time with. And it's true. I'm not bullshitting her. Like, she's the only girl that I really want to emotionally invest in because of whatever quality she has. And she knows that because every time I'm with her, I make it special. Again, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about how you can do that. But I'm building something with her that I'm not with other girls. And she knows, the girl understands that I choose her. The girl understands that I'm choosing her more than other girls. That I don't have to choose other girls. So I don't have to choose her, but I have chosen her. Again, because my abundance is so clear and I've conveyed that. We talked about earlier how to convey abundance, how to have these boundaries. That's what you're doing. When you're in the relationship, you have to maintain the relationship. Again, maintenance is everything. Maintaining a relationship with the girl is everything. How do you properly maintain the relationship? Well, the first thing is you and her have to respect your relationship boundaries. There have to be boundaries in a relationship for both of you. For example, me, with my girls, I'll give an example. I think that this is good for you guys to learn from and you can implement it in your own life. When I get into a real relationship with a girl, again, let's pretend it's not a monogamous relationship, but she is my girlfriend. She's a girl that I am seeing 3 or 4 days a week. You know, like when I go out and I'm done taking action and I'm done going out, maybe I won't pull because I want to see this girl. Maybe I'll get dinner with this girl and I won't end up fucking her. This is kind of for me what a relationship is, right? Maybe I will fuck with the girls here and there, but I'm getting into the relationship where I'm prioritizing this girl. And right now, as I'm filming this at least, I don't have a girl that I'm prioritizing necessarily. I do have a girl that's like a good friend of mine that I have an emotional connection with, but I still would not fuck her and I'll see other girls, or I see this girl once or twice a week. So this is the kind of situation I'm in. But when I get into this relationship, when I actually have this girl that I see, here's one of the boundaries that I set for myself. It is, you don't tell me at all when you're talking to other guys. Like if you are talking to another guy, or if you happen to hook up with a random guy, do not tell me. Like if you tell me, that is a huge no-no. Because I will respect you with these boundaries and I won't flaunt to you or show you the girls that I see. Like if you were just a fuck buddy, I would talk about tons of other girls. I would talk about other girls. I would talk about crazy orgies and threesomes. Or like, for example, here when I'm in Austin, Texas, I've pulled like threesome situations here. I've done that here. And I've told the girls that are fuck buddies what I've done. I've told them, I've been like, yo, this is cool. I wish you were here. You would have been amazing as a part of it. But if I'm in like a relationship with a girl where me and her are investing time together, we're building something on a long-term dating strategy, I will not tell her, and I expect the same thing for her. She must not tell me if she got hooked up with a random guy. The other thing is, if there is a guy that is pursuing her, that she's interested in, I do expect her to tell me that. So if she hooks up with someone, like if she's just like a random hookup, sure, but I do expect that openness of communication. Like if some guy's like asking her out, I expect her to tell me. Some guys may be like, oh, that's a weird combination, but it's actually not. Just like if there's someone that she starts to emotionally invest in, she tells me, she doesn't string me along while she has me on her little rotation, or there's another guy that she isn't building something with and me. No, if you're my girl, we are both emotionally exclusive. But if you decide to just go out to a party, let's say she went on a vacation just to fucking Germany and she hooked up with some guy while she was in Germany, that's fine. Like you don't have to tell me about that. But if you start to emotionally feel feelings for another guy, tell me, keep that open communication, because I would tell her that as well. And I would keep that open communication. Again, then we're getting closer to a breakup situation. I'm not even a breakup in a negative way, but it's, I'm moving on and prioritizing other people in my life. But one of the boundaries is you don't flaunt you fucking anyone else to me. We don't flaunt that. We don't hide it. It's not like, oh, I'm sorry. But again, if you're in a relationship with her and you fuck someone else, you're not going to be building anything with that other person. You wouldn't even probably get into a short-term dating situation because you would just fuck them because, oh, it's sex. It's a great situation in the moment. But, this is my main girl. This is my girl. So I don't flaunt it in front of other girls. I'm in front of other girls, and I respect her boundary and she respects mine. So I respect girls' boundaries. Like, girls also have boundaries that they establish. Like one boundary is like when I fuck, if I'm in a relationship, again, more of a long-term dating situation, I won't show like panties of other girls behind my bed. I won't do that. I'll like clean up and respect that girl. She'll feel like it's just her and me. Again, she knows that I have the ability to get laid. She knows that I might be getting laid, but I don't flaunt that and shove it in her face. Hey, I'm getting laid all the time with other girls. I don't. It's just you're the girl that I'm emotionally investing in. And the girl responds to that, and she accepts that, and I set that boundary with her. She's the girl that I'm emotionally investing in. You have to have open communication with these boundaries. Like, there's no point in having these boundaries if you're not openly communicating. Again, the boundaries are based on open communication. The biggest reason why these relationships would fail is because you don't have open communication, but you have to have open communication if you want the relationship to work. Right, again, maintaining fuck buddies is good. Maintaining short-term dating relationships is good. And same thing with long-term dating relationships, But the thing that holds it all together is having open communication. You must have open communication. If you aren't openly communicating with a girl, it's going to fall short. Right? You have to have open communication. You have to make it very clear to her your boundaries. You have to make it clear to her that she should respect your boundaries and you should respect hers. Right? For example, I'll give the perfect example. There was this one girl that I was dating, and she started showing on her Snapchat her hanging out with this guy frequently. And I was like, is this guy into you? She was like, yeah. I was like, so are you dating him? I see you hanging out with him all the time. And she was like, no, we're not going on dates, but we're just hanging out. I'm like, no. Okay, so you know this guy's into you. You've admitted he's an attractive guy. I don't want you hanging out with him anymore, or at least like not even like hiding. Like, don't keep hanging out with him. Like, I see you texting him a lot and stuff. Like, if we're gonna be building this together, I'll fuck the occasional girl, but I'm not building and going on dates with tons of girls. Like, I'm not going on consistent dates with other girls, but you're constantly doing it with this guy. I see him popping up in your Snapchat. That is a boundary that I have with you. And I was open about it. I communicated it to her. I said I don't like it. So I said, if you're going to be spending time with this guy and giving him your emotional time, that's fine, but I'm not going to keep investing in you if you're not going to meet me halfway and make me your priority. Right? So I conveyed that to her. I said that with her. We laid in bed and we had that talk. And she said, okay, I understand. And she didn't keep going behind my back. Like, we're open with each other. Like, I have her passwords to her phone. She has mine. And I wasn't hiding behind her back looking at her phone, but eventually I saw she wasn't snapping him. You kind of see the things. Like, you see he's not on her Snapchat anymore. You see the texts kind of start to dwindle. And because it's so open and honest, she's not hiding anything. She's not like, okay, let me change the name in my phone. I said, again, I don't mind if you really like this guy more than me or if you want to invest time in him. I said, but I'm not going to be giving you my emotional capital. I'm not going to be giving you my emotional investment and my emotional energy. I'm not going to be spending money on you going on dates and stuff if you're having this guy as well. Like, that's not going to happen. Sure, if you want to hook up with some random dude, I don't fucking mind. I don't care. But I don't want to see you investing your time and your energy into other people because I'm not doing that. I'm prioritizing you because I like you. I appreciate you. You're different. You're special. Right? We have this thing going. And that's really important. So you don't get run all over in the relationship. You have this open communication. This is how you keep boundaries. This is how you set boundaries, but the communication has to be open. And you have to respect hers too. This is not a one-way thing. I don't want you to think that, okay, I have my boundaries, I ignore the girls. No, some girls have different boundaries, and you have to respect those boundaries. I already talked about it. One of the girls' boundaries for me is like, that girls may have for me would be, don't let me like see residue of other girls in your home that you're fucking. Like, don't do that when I come over. That's a boundary that a girl might have, and you respect it. You have to be willing to respect the girl's boundaries. What is your role in a relationship? When it comes to maintaining it, what is the role that you have? So it's something that I call the high-value emotional provider, right? That's the role that you have. And again, the high-value emotional provider, it's not where you're purely a lover, but it's where you are also an emotional provider. You're providing for the girl, but you're providing these emotions, not where you're her anchor in constant support, where, she can cry and be some crazy maniac, and you have to deal with the brunt of it, but is where you are providing emotions for the girl, positive emotions, where she can rely on you as some kind of support system. And I'm going to get into the dynamic here, but it's where you are a high value guy. The difference in guys that have bad relationships with girls, where they fizzle out and end up coming to me for coaching, versus relationships that are good, is one is a low value emotional provider, the other is a high value emotional provider. In this case, we're going to talk about being a high-value emotional provider instead of a low-value emotional provider. There's 3 aspects to being a high-value emotional provider. Again, your purpose is number 1. That's the big thing. You can't be a high-value provider of emotions if your purpose doesn't come first. Your purpose has to be number 1. A lot of guys sacrifice their purpose because they get the one girl that likes them, and then it's like their purpose goes out the window and they begin, again, slipping back into chode city or, that scarcity. But your purpose has to be number 1. You have to keep your purpose number 1, even when you're in a long-term dating relationship. You have to prioritize your purpose. What is your purpose? A woman is not your purpose. That's factually true. Like, a woman is not your purpose. Building a legacy could be a purpose. Giving value to others could be a purpose. I know, again, what my purpose is, being open and honest here. My purpose is to build a legacy for myself through giving value. It's by helping others change their results in life. That's my purpose, by building this legacy for myself. And I recognize this, and that is what I prioritize. Even in a relationship, like, I prioritize this purpose. If there's a great opportunity for me to build this legacy in another city, or for me to build this legacy a certain way, I'm going to take that opportunity and I'm going to prioritize that, and girls know that. My purpose does come first. And the girl is brought on along that purpose. So it's important when you're in a long-term dating relationship that you don't cut the girl out of your journey. So another purpose of mine is working on myself and building up myself as a man. I bring the girl along that journey. I include her in what I'm doing. If I start going to the gym a lot, I'll bring the girl a part of that journey. I'll be like, can you join me? One thing that I'm super into is meditation and relaxation. And I'll bring the girls along that journey. I will bring them along that journey of me relaxing and me meditating. I'll bring them along the journey with me, right? I'll let girls know, hey, I love meditating. I want to teach you meditation. I want to teach you how to be a more relaxed person. Like this journey of self-development and success with women and personal growth that I've been on, I've taken girls on this journey too. They begin to engage with me on this journey because I include them. I tell them things that I enjoy. I tell them things that I like, and I teach my girls how to meditate. I encourage my girls to read self-development books or list. I introduce them to my virtual mentors, guys like Gary Vaynerchuk, guys like Tim Ferriss, right? I throw them on this journey and I introduce them to things. They are a part of my purpose. They're a part of my journey of personal growth. Girls become part of my journey. You can't be afraid to bring a girl along this journey. How do you do it? By introducing her to things. Introducing her to things that you find important. Introducing her to things that are a part of your purpose. Right? Including her in things. Not shutting her out, not having this hidden life, but including her in it. Part of this is like bringing girls with you when you go out. It doesn't have to be, threesome game all the time. It doesn't have to be getting threesomes with her. But like if you go out and let's say you have a good social life, instead of hiding your social life and staying and cuddling with her in bed all day and then shutting her out of your social life, introduce her to your wings, the guys that you've met maybe through going out and doing game. Introduce her to them. Make her a part of your life. Make her part of the things that you hold valuable. And there's better ways you can bring her on this purpose. We'll get into that next. But another thing is being an anchor of sorts, a small anchor of sorts for her emotions. Being the guy that when she's freaking out, when she's experiencing these emotional highs and lows, something happens to her at work, she experiences negative emotions, you can be the guy that's an anchor for her emotions. Right? She can handle, you can handle her emotions and you can handle the emotion she gives you. It's like when the girl goes on this emotional up and down, instead of you freaking out and being like, why do you feel this way? Why are you giving me these emotions? No, it's like, hey babe, everything's gonna be fine. Remember we talked about earlier with the taking action part of game. It's like one of the biggest things a girl needs to understand is that everything's gonna be okay, especially even when you're pulling. Relationships are a semblance of that. It's like a mirror. Relationships and taking girls home, it's like the same thing, but relationships is much more, it's a much higher level. It's much more long-term. Again, the long-term dating situation, making her feel everything's gonna be okay. So when the girl's freaking out, when bad things happen, or again, like even I'm going through shit like that on my phone right now. I've been shooting in this Airbnb and shooting on this trip constantly, so I'm not talking to my main girl a lot. I mean, kind of ignoring her. Again, that time boundary, I've told her, but I've said it to her. I've said, hey, everything's gonna be okay. When I come back, we're gonna spend so much time together. Right? Setting that emotional anchor where the girl understands, hey, this guy's in control of his emotions and I can relax my emotions because he's able to handle them. So she's freaking out, messaging me, you haven't spent time with me, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, babe, everything's gonna be fine. Don't worry. It's okay. I'm gonna spend time with you. But right now I have this boundary, time boundary. I'm shooting. I'm not gonna sacrifice shooting. I'm not gonna say, no, I won't shoot and I'll FaceTime with you all day. But no, I've established this boundary with the girl and I'm an anchor for her emotions. She's freaking out. She's like, I want to spend time with you. I feel like you're hooking up with other girls and shit constantly. I'm like, babe, it's okay. Like, you're the girl that I want to spend time with. But I need to get through this time in my life right now where I'm shooting, where I'm producing this content. Let me do this, and then I will give you my time. After I get this done. After I prioritize this. Right? So I'm an anchor for her emotions. I don't fluctuate and fluster under the girl's emotions. When she gives me these emotions and she kind of freaks out, I don't alter what I'm doing or anything, but I still let her know, hey, everything's gonna be okay. So that's what I mean when I say be an anchor for the girl's emotions. You need to be a fucking anchor for her emotions so that the girl understands when this guy experiences these crazy up and down emotions I have, when I give him these emotions and I'm showing him, fuck, I'm freaking out, hey, I need this from you, he can handle it. And he's the guy that makes me feel everything's gonna be fine. Part of being the high value provider and part of having a successful relationship, a long-term dating relationship with the girl, is learning how to be on a path of progression with her versus a path of stagnation. And that's something we talked about earlier, progression versus stagnation. There's 3 aspects to getting into progression in your relationships versus stagnation. And I want to establish why this is so important. You can't have a good relationship with a woman if you are in stagnation. If you guys are in stagnation, you both are dying out, what's going to happen is you're going to be relying on each other for emotions. Again, that doesn't mean that you can't be an anchor, but once you're relying on each other to bounce off of each other when it comes to emotions, if you're relying on each other purely for emotions, if like you guys need each other, you need each other, she's like your fuel and you are, like the fire that's burning shit out of her, you lose that emotion, that masculine, feminine dynamic, and you go into stagnation instead of progression. You always want to be progressing as a man. You always want to be progressing, and you can bring the girl along that journey of progression. How do you do it? Well, there's a few things. Number one is something I call sexual exploration. You guys have to grow sexually together. You have to try new things. Like in a relationship, and this is even a short-term dating relationship as well, but it's, I think, even more important in long-term dating because you have that long-term building. Again, the frame of long-term dating relationships is you're constantly building with a girl. You have to have sexual exploration. You guys have to be able to explore things sexually. New things. Maybe it's bringing another girl in and having a threesome. Maybe it's trying tying up or BDSM. Maybe it's doing something like doing anal. Maybe it's fucking in a new place. Again, with my girls, one of the big things that I do to test, how much she trusts me in the relationship and build that emotional wavelength, that emotional up and down so I can be more of the anchor, is I'll fuck the girl in a public place. Like, I'll fuck her in a bathroom in a club, or I'll rent out a little office and fuck her, or I'll rent an Airbnb for a night and fuck her there. Or like we'll have amazing sex all night, right? It's like I build this narrative with the girl. It's like I build this narrative of, hey, this is a new thing. This is a new venture we're going on. And the girl falls into this narrative. The girl falls into the narrative of progression together. We're building something sexually. We're getting better at sex. It's together. It's not just you and her every time you meet, bang, 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 blah, blah, blah. But it's you're building the narrative. You're building this sexual exploration, and you hit this path of progression instead of this path of stagnation. When you progress sexually, you guys build chemistry. You guys build this together. And again, this is important in short-term dating too, but it's more applicable with long-term dating. You have to try new things sexually, introduce new things. A lot of guys wonder, how can I do this? How do I do it? Do I ask her, like, can we do anal tonight? No, it's just, babe, I totally want to try this with you. I think this would be amazing. Get her emotionally involved in it. Build the emotions. When she's in these emotional highs, when she's like, that sex was amazing. Again, and you'll find this easier if you value your time. Because if you value your time and have that time boundary, the girl will appreciate the time you spend with her more, and there will be more emotions when you spend time with her. She'll appreciate it more, which allows these things to happen easier. All right, for me, the girl values every bit of time she gets with me. So when we do something new, it's like I have much easier time of introducing new things because she's like, this time is more precious. So I don't want to give him no. I want to give yes, and fall into the emotional narrative. Oh my God, I'm lucky I'm getting this guy. I'm lucky that he's spending this time with me. So you want to introduce new things sexually. You want to grow and go on a path of progression sexually. You have to sexually progress. You can't do the same fucking vanilla shit. You have to have new things. It doesn't have to be crazy. You don't have to have her shove fingers up your ass or do any crazy things like that unless you want to. But, you do want to add new crazy sexual things, sexual growth and sexual progression. Other thing is life exploration. Travel with the girl. Go on trips with her. Do things in life. Like go to making things up. Go to cooking class. Do things that are going to help you grow in your life. Start a venture together. Something I like to do with my girls and something I've been working towards and I plan on doing in the next couple months is starting vlogging with my girls. Like actually the girl that I'm dating, we're going to be doing like a vlog together, like a YouTube channel of sorts. Start exploring life. Start growing life in life. Start, again, focusing on that life progression and adding her to your life and things that you want to do, the little boundaries you have, the time boundaries. When you do give her that time, grow together. All right, life exploration is important. Travel to new cities and bring the girl with you. Go on a fucking vacation together. Explore new things together. Don't go with the regular routine. Bring her to new clubs. Experience new fucking things together. Like if you want to go, let's say there's a high-end club that you would have gone to if you were in the community doing game in your pimping days and you get into a long-term dating situation, bring the girl to a new club. You don't have to shut your life down because you're with the girl. The girl should be a part of it. You shouldn't put all your focus on, me and the girl just laying in bed together all day, but grow. The other thing is mutual motivation. You guys should motivate each other. You guys should learn how to motivate each other for growth. Motivate each other for excellence. Give her compliments. Tell her she can do shit. She should also tell you the same. The girl should encourage you. The girl should know where you're moving towards in your life, and she should be a support system for that. It shouldn't be, okay, me and this girl have been talking We're in a long-term dating situation. Now we're dying out and stagnating, and it's just, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? It's like a nappy thing where you guys are nagging each other. No, but grow together. Be each other's motivators. Build this narrative. Build this story. Build something together. And all relationships are not going to work out, but this is how you can make your relationships more effective, and you can make your relationships, have a little more impact, be more fulfilled. It's by following this storyline of, we're building something together. This is us building this connection together. This is us building this thing. I have my boundaries. You're coming within my boundaries. And you're joining me on this journey. We're in progression instead of stagnation. Stagnation is the worst thing you could do. And so many people do this. This is why the relationship never works out, because they're stagnating. But you want to be in progression. Okay, in the next module, what we're going to talk about, the next section of this module, we're going to talk about social connections and how to actually use the game that you've learned to build up social connections. Okay, we'll get into that now.